My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. It is Saturday, May 24th, 2025. It's 11:23 a.m. And this is podcast audio documentation, which is, again, the evidence, which is the audible component, if you will, to my evidence, which is embodied in the totality of the P.O.C, the pattern of conduct, which is published on a website, the P.O.C website, and it is published on YouTube, which only encompasses the videos. Now, the video that I published online today on YouTube, and it is shared on the Google Drive as well, it is under the appropriately titled, referring to the demon that I'm going to document right now, Jason Isaac Fields, federal group stalking and monitoring by a corrupt and sick United States government actor. And this is in reference to what is the inhumane and the unconstitutional, unethical, and the satanic monitoring that Jason Isaac Fields, which is the U.S. government, is still engaging in to date. And also Jason Isaac Fields, a demon-possessed person who was monitoring me, the spirit spiritually attacking me, which is also relevant to gang stalking that I remain subject to, which I have proven with tangible evidence that the state of California, the public entity itself, remember, the pattern of conduct is the United States government's pattern of conduct. It's the federal government. It's the U.S. government. In California,
California is corrupt and California is exposed as a gang stalker. And then I get into all of the police departments, all of the sheriff's departments, all of the cities and the counties, all of the mayors that are gang stalking, all of the municipalities engaging in the pattern of conduct, while the demon possessed engage in the system of surveillance, which is monitoring in a specific environment, which is demonic. Now, the U.S. government's criminal engagement in federal group stalking and monitoring is that which the demon possessed Jason Isaac Fields is engaging in. And this demon is ceaselessly, as of 11/24, even right now as I speak, is monitoring me. This is a demonic. This is a demon-possessed person that is obsessing over me in the spirit. This is somebody that is engaging what is harassing me and psychologically targeting me. As I fall asleep, this is what I'm documenting on an ongoing basis. This is what this demon is doing. By the way, while you're monitoring, you're not engaging in any investigation. I'm going to prosecute the U.S. government for what the corrupt government actor Jason Isaac Fields is doing while abusing a position of government and using that government position to target an American citizen in order to murder that American citizen, in order to psychologically traumatize that American citizen so that a kidnapping as an entity can be accomplished. This is why Jason Isaac Fields and his sex partner, Tracy Banks, and her co-defendants, his co-defendants, Eric Corey Spencer, and the people of the state who I had documented by name, engaging in the criminal acts of what are bearing false witness while they're gang stalking with the courts, who are engaging in what is both targeting and then criminally defaming your character on paper, where demons like Tracy Banks would utilize a fraudulently procured, a criminally procured instrument such as any sort of conservatorship that is secretly obtained, criminally obtained, and doing so in concert with the government that's targeting me. Any power of attorney, which is, again, fraudulently, criminally obtained while Tracy Banks, while the United States government, the state of California, literally the city of Ontario that she's gang stalking me in concert with, are targeting in concert with the people of the state. This is why people like Tracy Banks, Eric Corey Spencer, Tommy Allen Banks, this is why Jason Isaac Fields belong in federal prison. This is where you are going when you are targeting with the government that is engaging in gang stalking, which is an organized criminal system where surveillance is underway. And that surveillance system is pursuant to what are demons who are monitoring. And those demons are monitoring a specific person as an entity in furtherance of murdering that person, in furtherance of kidnapping that person, where the satanic system of monitoring is underway in order to falsely depict the character of that American citizen. This is what Jason Isaac Fields is doing while abusing a government position. And this psychopath is so obsessed that he is still doing so in the face of evidence. This is the same mental illness, psychopathic, antisocial, delusional, that the people of the state, for example, at Woodside Senior Apartments are engaging in, that his sex partner, Tracy Banks, is engaging in. You see her walking out of the apartment as I capture images of her. She's doing so on a cloudy day. And remember, the entity that has the fake sun over this apartment building at 6:33 in the morning is doing nothing other than covering up the fake sun that I've already documented at 6:33 in the morning at Woodside Senior Apartments. And it's remaining where the Ontario police are gang stalking with Tracy Banks at 5:40 in the afternoon. This is the fake sun that's documented in the morning at 7:10 in the morning, at 7:36 in the morning, at 7:21 in the morning. That is rising. And then when you're seeing the Ontario police gang stalking me by helicopter at 5:57 in the afternoon, with Tracy Banks that's crossing paths, stalking with the method of flashing light under that fake sun that remains over me, over this apartment building. So the entity is covering up the fake sun, but you're understanding the P.O.C. that Jason Isaac Fields, a U.S. government actor, is engaging in concert with his sex partner, this 60-some-odd-year-old witch. That's a reference to her spiritual condition, and a reference to her criminal conduct is that she is a third party gang stalking a relative, which is mandated federal prison. And it's the same for Jason Isaac Fields, the sex partner whom Tracy Banks is aligned with in conspiring against my life, conspiring against my liberty, and also conspiring with regard to targeting me with the people of the state, with the state of California, where the city of Ontario is gang stalking me. This is the criminal conduct of the U.S. government and corrupt government actors like Jason Isaac Fields targeting me with the Los Angeles Police Department, the city of L.A., gang stalking me with the Ontario Police Department, that is the city of Ontario, gang stalking me with the Pasadena Pasadena Police Department, the city of Pasadena, gang stalking me in the specific environment by helicopter, as that hallmark is clearly identified. Gang stalking me with the Burbank Police Department, gang stalking me at the Walmart in Burbank, California, while they fly over my head as I'm walking toward that Walmart, which is the entity's P.O.C. This is what the U.S. government is engaging in, and that includes state actors whose name I happen to know, and it includes Jason Isaac Fields, who is documented in video, and the name of that video that is published on YouTube, and it is directly related to an example of what Jason Isaac Fields is guilty of, which is gang stalking me with the state of California. That includes every police department, that includes every sheriff's department, that includes the totality of the public entity, the state of California, as I go from city to city, and the U.S. government is gang stalking me and facilitating it while the government abuses its position in targeting an American citizen. There's no investigation of me. There is no lawful means to stalk me, which is what the government is doing when they're stalking you, including when they're stalking you as it is proven in the specific environment, so that the demon possessed by department name, by city name, by municipality are clearly identified as the demons that they are. And that's what Jason Isaac Fields is doing when I'm publishing the video entitled, again, Jason Isaac Fields, Federal Group Stalking and Monitoring by a Corrupt and Sick U.S. Government Actor. And this psychopath is engaging in what is psychological torture in the form of the same thing that I'm documenting at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning, when this obsessed sex offender utilizes what is black magic, engaging what is, in other words, witchcraft, trying to cast spells over me, interrupting my sleep, spell work that does not work on me. But I am aware of what this demon is doing in the spirit, and I immediately document, because I'm going to prosecute the government that is both gang stalking, and this is my exposure upon the evidence proving the fact of gang stalking, proving the fact of what is demonic activity, in case there was anybody that was ignorant about that, proving the fact of demon possession, and also the fact that the government is engaging in what is the demonic targeting system. And the government is doing that because the government is targeting American citizens that are ignorant about the spiritual realm, that are ignorant about the demon possessed, that are ignorant about the specific environment, which is the environment which is defying nature, such as the sun remaining over all of the defendants in units 49 through 64, who are all going to federal prison for gang stalking me with Jason Isaac Fields in concert with the U.S. government. The U.S. government that's acting via the city of Ontario, that is using the fire department, the police department, American Medical Response Ambulance Services, and the Paul Leon and the Ontario International Airport, Alan D. Wapner's criminal misuse of all the faculties, the resources of the city, while they're targeting me in that specific environment, engaging in what is the unabated program of psychological torture. This is what Jason Isaac Fields is doing in concert with that entity, while he is spiritually attacking me like his sex partner, with his sex partner Tracy Banks, his 60-plus-year-old sex partner, that he engages in what is sexual activity while they pray to demonic spirits in an effort to spiritually attack me. Now, they have failed in this spiritual endeavor, and this is the return to sender that each of these demons are going to experience, and they're already experiencing it. One of the ways, in fact, is my identifying them as demons and exposing what they are doing in the spirit, where ordinary people are not aware that you're encountering demon-possessed people such as Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks, who practice witchcraft. They utilize spell work to control people. They utilize spell work to kill people. They utilize spell work to engage in what is controlling the ability of other people to make a decision whether you want to have sexual activity with them as well. That is exactly what I said, using spell work in order to essentially rape someone, because it is acting outside of the consent of that person when they are having sex with you because you put spell work on them. That is not consented sexual activity, but this is something that, again, laws in this country do not recognize. But that is also intentional, because the same laws that are not recognized, the government is engaging what is spiritually attacking American citizens by gang stalking them, and doing so in a manner that, again, the laws, natural laws that are written on the books do not recognize. And that is deliberate and malicious by the government that engages in the demonic system of federal group stalking and monitoring. Jason Isaac Fields is spiritually attacking. Every time that I'm falling asleep, this demon is engaging in what is interrupting my sleep, which is a form of psychological torture. Not only is this engagement, this is violence. that he's engaging in while he's a documented gang stalker. So you're not hiding, and it's not anonymous in the same way that the demons stalking with impossible light activity, like I documented yesterday afternoon on May 23rd, 2025, the same day that I'm documenting state actor Alan D. Wapner and the Ontario International Airport, which is the city of Ontario, which is the municipality, the state of California, gang stalking with the U.S. government. And that government, that entity, hostile to being exposed, to being documented, to being named individually, engages in the documented acts of terrorism such as stalking, psychologically torturing with impossible light activity, which is very specific criminal conduct attributed to the state actor that's being documented. It includes both Jason Isaac Fields and Alan D. Wapner and the gang stalkers of the Ontario International Airport, in addition to the demons inside of the apartment building where the impossible light activity is occurring under the fake sun that's rising and setting over the apartment building. And the demon possessed engage in this conduct in the face of evidence that's going to prosecute them, where there is no anonymity. There is no mystery regarding the pattern of conduct, which is satanic. And Jason Isaac Fields is engaging in this pattern of conduct with the intent to psychologically torture, as I identify him in a video which I published to the YouTube channel, and I published to the Google Drive, and I also published it on my website, where you can see the documentation highlights for today, where you will see the face of this African-American male who is over 35 years old. I'm not quite sure the exact age of Jason Isaac Fields, but this is somebody that is having sex with his mother. That's his purpose of the dysfunctional sexual relationship with my mother, Tracy Banks, whom he is not coincidentally but intentionally engaging in the criminal conspiracy to murder and kidnap me via the system of gang stalking, where he's engaged in the repeated acts of kidnapping, engaging in what is the criminal defamation with regard to kidnapping with this entity that is acting in concert with the people of the state. This demon that is spiritually attacking Jason Isaac Fields is doing so while he is aware of the fact that I am documenting, and I am under no obligation, and I under no circumstances am even demonstrating that I am interested, that I am consenting to being targeted by this domestic terrorist, by this person engaging in psychological torture, spiritually attacking me obsessively. This is entirely demonic, and it is state action. That's exactly what is expounded upon in the description box of the video published to YouTube. The entity that is gang stalking with impossible light activity is the entity that is gang stalking on behalf of the United States government, that engages in this inhumane and unconstitutional and unethical experiment, if you will, on the lives of American citizens that they know very well are gifted, perhaps spiritually gifted like I am. This is why the entity also engages what is targeting me, and then in order to then profit from it, literally stealing my intellectual property, my evidence, which is also used to enforce my rights against terrorists like Jason Isaac Fields, against sex offenders like Jason Isaac Fields, against stalkers like Jason Isaac Fields, whose mental incapacity, proven by engagement in federal group stalking and monitoring, is literally the disqualification from his position in government. It is literally mandating federal prison, if not a mental ward like his long-term sex partner, Tracy Banks. Jason Isaac Fields is in no position to speak upon the criminal conduct, the egregious acts committed by his sex partner, his co-conspirator, his co-defendant, Tracy Banks, while he is engaging in the identical pattern of conduct, which is not only criminal, it is inhumane. It is government action. It is that which Jason Isaac Fields, in the position of government, abusing it for the purposes of Tracy Banks, who has for years recruited, if you will, the people of the state, the entity, in order to target me. And Jason Isaac Fields is deliberately and continuously and ceaselessly, obsessively consumed with that. He is doing so in furtherance of psychological torture, irreversible psychological trauma, in order to kidnap an American citizen. That is not going to be accomplished by against me, but I am going to speak about it because I'm exposing someone who is demon possessed. That is Jason Isaac Fields. This person's mental illness is literally barring from being in law enforcement at any level. This is somebody that should under no circumstances have any access to weapons, not only by virtue of his no longer closeted mental illness, but his criminal engagement in domestic terrorism, his appetite for psychological torture, his obsession with both stalking a woman and also engaging in acts of violence, such as psychological torture, because she is rejecting myself. I'm rejecting him, and I am aggressively rejecting him. This is a psychopath who is, again, sexually aroused by being identified as a stalker. He is sexually aroused by being identified as a demon. He is sexually aroused by my rejection of him, especially when I point out the fact that he's had all manner of sexual activity with Tracy Banks. This pervert is sexually aroused by it. This is mental illness that Jason Isaac Fields is suffering from, and his criminal conduct, which is demonic, and it's also a matter of public corruption, is exposing that mental illness. It is not distinct from what the demons of the Ontario Police Department, the demons of the Los Angeles Police Department, people like Michael Moore, people like Dominic Choi, people like Derek Williams, people like Mike Lorenz. These are those who are engaging in the satanic targeting system, and they are, as a matter of evidence, hard evidence, gang stalking me, and doing so as a police department, doing so via the documented hallmark, using helicopters, with knowledge, by the way, that I am documenting it. Meaning I'm documenting the stalker, and the stalker is sexually aroused as I document that. That's what this sex offender, this psychopath, Jason Isaac Fields, is guilty of. This person not only is to be removed from government, this person is to be put in what is federal prison and nothing less than that, based on the criminal conduct that he has been engaged in as a matter of documentation since 2018. That's how I know his name. That's how I know his phone number. That's how I know his previous addresses. He's been gang stalking me, and while doing so, secretly engaging in a sick sexual and satanic relationship with Tracy Banks, because he's deliberately engaging in what are creative ways of literally criminally defaming my character while trying to ruin my professional career and defaming my character. That is, again, creating what is an financial handicap, if you will, with regard to the inability to go to work and not be subject to the system of federal group stalking and monitoring. Jason Isaac Fields is directly engaging in that with the intent to criminally defame my character with people like Tracy Banks, who you hear using criminal defamation on a daily basis. She is doing so with the government, with state actors like Jason Isaac Fields. It is the pattern of conduct. When you are looking at the entity gang stalking me with the Ontario Police Department, you are looking at the handiwork of the United States government. State actors that are acting in concert with the United States government, such as Jason Isaac Fields. This person is, as of 11:40 a.m., after I'm publishing video evidence so that the world can see the face of the person who has lied to the public about my character, who has lied to the public about the nature of our non-existent relationship. We have never had a romantic relationship. We have not been in contact with each other for years. He has not contacted me with regard to any sort of admission regarding his engaging in targeting me. He has not, under any circumstances, communicated the fact that he is investigating the fact that I'm gang stalking, which he does not, and the government does not need to investigate what they are ceaselessly engaging in. He has, under no circumstances, contacted me, which I do not consent to. His acts of contacting me under any circumstances would be documented. I would avoid contact with him like I do every other gang stalker, and I would immediately publish, and I will immediately publish it on the internet in order to prosecute him. This person is not only gang stalking me, this person is spiritually attacking as a demon-possessed psychopath who is a very demented and dysfunctional sex fixation with the person that he wants to harm. That's why he is stalking. That's why he's engaging in violence such as psychological torture. That's why he's engaging in more of it as I document him. And he is simultaneously misrepresenting the true status of our non-existent relationship, the pure absence of any consent, the pure absence of any cooperative endeavors, the pure absence of any sort of knowledge that he is engaged in what is literally trying to deconstruct every aspect of my life. Upon becoming aware of it, I am documenting him more in a more detailed manner and in a more specific manner, as opposed to what is enough. It's sufficient. He's a documented third party. Understanding and being aware of the fact that he's abusing a government position is removing him from law enforcement, removing him from that government position. And it is also the basis of federal prison, mandated. You're gang stalking as a fake friend. You're doing so on behalf of the government that's trying to murder and kidnap me. And you're using a fake relationship, which was merely a telephone relationship, where he's engaging in federal stalking. This demon is doing so while obsessively consumed with and engaging in what is anal sex, oral sex, vaginal sex with Tracy Banks. somebody that's as old as his mother, speaking to the dysfunction that he suffers from on a personal, spiritual, emotional, and psychological level. This predator is what is spiritually attacking and would have engaged in what is killing me through witchcraft if he could have gotten away with it. This person is very well versed in black magic and voodoo, and also in doing so with Tracy Banks and their ordinary tactics of targeting American citizens and killing them. And the entity is engaging what is, I want to be clear, murder by witchcraft is that which is, that doesn't leave any traces on the body. It doesn't leave any sort of evidence with regard to how they actually lost their life. Then you have the demon-possessed gang stalking police department that just render it a suicide, or they render it what is a heart attack. Somebody that's otherwise perfectly healthy. Somebody that would never harm themselves. Somebody that was not, by the way, any sort of victim of a car accident. The entity is targeting, and the demon possessed, that demonic entity, targets. And they do use what is witchcraft to take the lives of American citizens. This is speaking to the full throttle satanic artillery of the demon possessed, and it includes that which is state action. This is the spiritual component to gang stalking. This is what a police department has no legitimate interest in, and it's exactly what every documented police department is engaging in, the practice of witchcraft, which is gang stalking. That's why they're targeting under a fake sun. That's satanic. That's why they're targeting with impossible light activity. That's satanic. It simultaneously occurs with amplified audible activity. That is satanic. While the entity targets American citizens and the ordinary targeted individual loses their life, if not through the physical force of the demonic entity, through the use of mere witchcraft. You can die in your sleep while they use witchcraft over you. The entity is engaging in this while demons like Jason Isaac Fields is fully aware and is obsessing over me and is also sexually aroused while I document him. There will be no relationship with the government that is monitoring. The relationship will only be one in a federal court in order to prosecute the government for the inhumane system of gang stalking me in furtherance of trying to steal and profit from theft of my intellectual property, and also in furtherance of what is ultimately murdering me. And that's the purpose behind gang stalking with police departments who are repeatedly kidnapping and falsely depicting your character as they target you and kidnap you. And the U.S. government facilitates it. This is facilitated up into, like I've documented, in the courts where the gang stalking is underway, where they are criminally defaming your character, where demons like Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields engage in what are fraudulent marriages, what are fraudulent means of death certificates, what are engaging in the allegations of criminal conduct that I've never committed, and my history proves that I am not even capable and have never been engaged in any such criminal conduct under any circumstances. And the entity is engaging in what is creating a whole different person while they are targeting me and then putting that defamatory character under my record in order to kidnap me and then ultimately take my life. That's the whole malicious system of gang stalking, when the entity is seamlessly capable of executing it. But for Christ Jesus himself, and the sealing of the Holy Spirit, these demons are absolutely incapable of targeting, and they're also incapable not just of targeting, but they're incapable of doing it in any ambiguous or mysterious or secretive manner. I am, and my documentation shows, I am not only prosecuting in the physical, I am calling out those who are demon possessed, because the demon possessed need to be identified by name. And the demon possessed are teaching those of you who are paying attention that Satan has no discriminatory bounds for excluding those that are not willing and capable to serve him. It doesn't matter whether they're in government. It doesn't matter whether they're unemployed. It doesn't matter whether they are elderly. It doesn't matter whether they are Chinese or whether they're African American or whether they're mulattoes. It doesn't matter whether they are blood related to you. It doesn't matter whether they are married into your family. It doesn't matter whether they are strangers on the street. The entity is identified through the behavioral pattern in the specific environment and its state action. And the entity does engage in what is murdering American citizens through satanic practices. This is what Jason Isaac Fields is engaging in. And this demon has engaged in what is, while having no, I want to be clear, this person is not my father. This person is not my spouse. This person is not my boyfriend. This person is not even in contact with me. This is essentially a stranger, somebody that I used to contact on a friendly basis over the phone. Anyone that is associated with Jason Isaac Fields who has listened to nothing other than lies of a maniacal psychopath who is obsessed with me and obsessed with my creation, the P.O.C, the evidence proving that demons are targeting, which is something that he is incapable of proving and knowing because he is that demonic entity. This is somebody that has sought to manufacture a relationship, manufacture knowledge about me. He has none. The knowledge that he has that has been procured is because he's a government actor monitoring me, stalking me, sexually violating me, spiritually attacking me. There is nothing that is lawful about the knowledge that Jason Isaac Fields has. He gets it while digging in the vagina and the anal cavity of Tracy Banks, where demonic spirits are supposed to promise him wealth and riches and success in his life. That's what this psychopath has engaged in with his life, while targeting me. Literally, his sexual activity with my mother is based on his obsession with me, because I would never, ever associate with this maniacal, unhinged, delusional, sociopathic, antisocial, psychopathic personality, because that's what's wrong with him. And it is because he is in darkness. He is depraved. He is a degenerate. These are the cockroaches of mankind. And while I'm documenting, just like I documented yesterday, this is where the demon's engaging in what is an ongoing campaign of impossible light activity. I have a whole playlist of showing you how the demon possessed target me with impossible light activity, because they have no other means of what is exercising or communicating hostility. They're a bunch of demons who lost. They tried to sacrifice me, and they're the ones who are going to lose their lives. Not because I'm going to touch them, but because those demonic spirits are going to come back. It's called a return to sender. Those demonic spirits are going to take their lives. Those demonic spirits are going to take their sanity. Jason Isaac Fields has already lost his. Tracy Banks has already lost hers. These are psychopaths. They are mentally sick. And these demonic spirits that they sought to attack me with, the return to sender is not only going to include what is they're being spiritually haunted, but they are going to be prosecuted in the physical. This is a part of that return to sender. The entity is targeting, and this is Jason Isaac Fields, what he's doing at 11:50 in the morning when I'm falling asleep and being repeatedly interrupted in my peaceful rest by this demon that is obsessing over me and harassing. That is not an act of love or admiration. This is a hostile psychopath that would murder me if he could secretly get away with it and then tell the public that I just killed myself, because that's exactly what Jason Isaac Fields sought to do while gang stalking me with Tracy Banks and Eric Corey Spencer and the city of Los Angeles, the city of Ontario, the city of Pasadena, the city of Monrovia, the city of Las Vegas and Nevada. Every city that I'm in where I'm documenting the P.O.C, the U.S. government is gang stalking me with the state of California. The P.O.C is shown through the specific environment where I'm showing you the supernatural, such as the fake sun rising and setting at Woodside Senior Apartments over me in this apartment building, and then at the same time rising over me at Courtyard by Marriott in Las Vegas, Nevada at 7:50 in the morning, and remaining over me as I exit at 12:08 p.m. off of Dean Martin Road in Las Vegas at that hotel, and remaining over me visible through my sunroof as I'm driving on the streets in Las Vegas, and then drive from Las Vegas, Nevada back to California, where the sun never deviates from being directly over the top of my head. That's the U.S. government's pattern of conduct as I go from state to state. Corrupt government actors like Jason Isaac Fields belong in federal prison, and justice requires that that is the inevitable outcome, because he is not under any circumstances above the law. This person is not providing any sort of insight information about the people of the state that he's targeting me with. And by the way, he is ceaselessly engaging in that criminal pattern of conduct. That is, under all circumstances, trumping or rebutting any sort of agreement where somebody testifying or providing evidence against the targeting entity is immune from things such as federal prison. Not when you're still engaging in that criminal activity. And the government is in no position to provide what is a way out for what is a mandated federal prison and mental asylums when that targeted individual remains subject to that criminal pattern of conduct that the government had no basis in the first place to ever engage in. The entity is still engaging in what is gang stalking. Jason Isaac Fields is still engaging in what is gang stalking. And this demon, I want to be clear, everyone in the world needs to know that this is a demon-possessed person. He is given over to Satan. He prays to Satan. He has multiple demonic spirits. He is mentally sick and deranged, and he is targeting me both on his being confused. This person is hostile. He hates my guts, wants to literally take my life, but is also sexually fixated on me. That's because he's demon possessed. Satan has full control over him, and I'm going to prosecute him for it. This demon that's engaging in psychological torture in the form of what is interrupting my sleep, Spiritually attacking me obsessively, he's doing so in concert with the people of the state that are gang stalking me, relevant position. That's also relevant to psychological torture that Avaneth Capital Management is not accepted from. It is a comprehensive prosecution where the entity is targeting in the ways in which I have exposed. Jason Isaac Fields is again published on video. You will see his face. You will see the video created today. You will see the ongoing body of evidence that I am continuously capturing because the U.S. government is continuously targeting. And it is relevant to the prosecution with regard to the malice of and the corruption of the government. The government is not conducting any investigation when the government is engaging in what is monitoring. That is the malicious pattern of conduct. And it is, again, the entity that will unhand all of the ill-gotten benefits derived from targeting me, all businesses created, all ideas, including ideas. Yes, because those ideas were the product of terrorism and psychological torture. And copyright law has never before contemplated the entity, the government, that engages in what is conspiring against the lives of American citizens to steal the ideas from them. While they are gifted, and that's the reason why they're being targeted. You're not holding on to any ideas that are the basis of any sort of ideas, creative works, business formations, any wealth created. You are going to unhandle it. I'm going to drain the pockets. It all belongs to me. While the entity sought to literally take my life and have me falsely depicted as some paranoid schizophrenic, somebody hallucinating, making up all of the allegations of the P.O.C. while they are profiting off of my intellectual property at the same time. No, you are not holding on to any of my intellectual property, my evidence. You will not be identified as anything other than what is a criminal engaging in terrorism with the incentive of a theft of intellectual property of that targeted individual. Remember, the entity is engaging in surveillance, so nobody that's stealing my intellectual property is innocently doing so. Nor does any gang stalker, no government actor, no third party, no entity that is targeting has any legal rights to transfer anything regarding that intellectual property. You have no transferable rights in it. It is literally criminal, and it is all coming back to me. This is what the entity is doing while Jason Isaac Fields is spiritually targeting, spiritually attacking me. It's 11:55 a.m. under the fake sun, amongst the engineer light. And this is, again, the egregious conduct of the U.S. government that permits sex offenders, demon-possessed Jews like Alan D. Wapner, and a whole airport, a whole municipality, a whole apartment complex in the city that is targeting me together. This is why Jason Isaac Fields is going to federal prison. This is why Jason Isaac Fields is being removed from the position that he holds in government, that he was disqualified to hold in the first place. This demon resorts to witchcraft. This demon resorts to what is anal sex with men. This demon resorts to what is praying to demonic spirits to target people to get his way in life. Okay? This demon is engaging in what is targeting me and is not only spiritually attacking me, but is still gang stalking me, targeting me in relevant position in that specific environment with knowledge that I am documenting the stalker. That speaks to how maniacal, how obsessed, how much of a public safety concern that Jason Isaac Fields is. This is directly relevant to what is published on the YouTube channel today. May 24, 2025. The video is entitled Jason Isaac Fields, Federal Group Stalking and Monitoring by a Corrupt and Sick U.S. Government Actor. And this is illustrative of the demons that fill the U.S. government who are engaging in this very system that I not only survived, I'm exposing it and I'm prosecuting it and I'm proving how it is executed throughout this country against unsuspecting American citizens who have an equal constitutional and human right to not be targeted for any reason. Because this is what the demon-possessed are doing. This is what Satan is doing. It is currently 11:56 a.m. The ongoing incessant monitoring in the spirit by state government actor Jason Isaac Fields, the ongoing sex offense, monitoring my vagina in the bathroom by this government actor Jason Isaac Fields who is monitoring me, the ongoing harassment and psychological torture that I document, including while the people of the state are still gang stalking, is all evidence what is speaking to the inevitable prosecution and laws that will surround Jason Isaac Fields, who will never come into contact with me. He will be prosecuted to the furthest extent of the law. And it also needs to be known that all of the lies and all those people who have entertained the lies that have come from him regarding there is no relationship, and there has never been any relationship between Jason Isaac Fields and myself. There is no partnership. There is no blossoming partnership. There is no future partnership. The only thing that is coming is that I am going to prosecute this person who is a deceitful psychopath and a exceedingly violent sex offender who is a threat to my life and my safety and well-being. And that is it. He is nothing less than that. I want to be clear. This is a terrorist and somebody that is employing psychological torture against a woman that he cannot have his way with. a woman that he cannot control. It is currently, again, 11:58 a.m. This is P.O.C.
Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes, and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C., and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state. And it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. All right, that is the reflection of the fake sun that's hovering over this apartment building, and that is the specific environment as exposed. When you're comparing it to the Ontario Police gang stalking, that is stalking a woman in violation of the Violence Against Women Act, and also gang stalking in violation of my constitutional and human rights by the police department, which is representative of the City of Ontario, demon-possessed gang stalking in concert with the demons that are inside of this building, units 49 through 64, where criminal interference with quiet enjoyment is underway, as evident through the supernatural, that the sun would be in any position to reflect off of this windshield, where it is documented in video where the Ontario police are gang stalking and the fake sun is over the same building at 5:40 p.m. and also at 6:33 in the morning, where the fake sun is reflecting off of the windows of this building right here, where I'm at the same location. Units 33 through 64 are engaging in what is bathroom monitoring. They're monitoring my vagina, my genitalia, while I'm indisposed inside of the bathroom, where the entity is keeping the specific environment where this is all engineer light. This is for monitoring purpose. This is for gang stalking by residents, and everybody gang stalking by residents in units 33 through 64 are going to federal prison. They are gang stalking on behalf of the U.S. government, and it is evidence that is going to prosecute Jason Isaac Fields in particular, who is engaging in what is the satanic targeting system, the sex offense, which is built into that targeting system, and also with impunity and malice. This barbarism, which is also predatory and very mentally deranged, is relevant with regard to the criminal conduct by the government. There is no sunlight that's going to appear, first of all, underneath the covered structure. Second of all, no sunlight that's going to be the product of what is engineer light that's inside of this apartment, where the sun you see is outside reflecting off of a windshield, but you have what is light that is plastered on the ceiling remaining in the dark. This is the entity that's engaging in surveillance relevant to this engineer light that's covering everything, and it's also inside of the apartment building, where amplified booming is heard at what is it's currently, by the way, 12:53 p.m. This is heard at 12:51 p.m., where the entity is gang stalking by virtue of the maintenance of disruptive and terrorizing audible activity, amplified in volume, pursuant to my location in the apartment where the fake sun is rising and setting, where engineer light is present with regard to ongoing ceaseless surveillance, which is also satanic. This is psychological torture that the people of the state are going to federal prison for. It is currently 12:54 p.m. The entity is gang stalking. Remember, the 3:37 p.m. fake sun is over the same exact location where it would be reflecting off of this vehicle in the parking lot, where license 8 Wendy Henry Charlie 403 is gang stalking by coming onto the grounds, targeting with the demons in units 33 through 64 who are going to federal prison. The demons that are gang stalking under the fake sun by crossing path with the African American female who is under the fake sun at what is 6:33 a.m. Are gang stalking with the demons in units 33 through 64, where the fake sun would be reflecting off of a building. This is the same building where it is above to be reflecting off of a vehicle in the parking lot of the same address, the same property, the same building at that property. property where I'm at. This is where the demon possessed in units 33 through 64. Daryl J. Carter and Abinath Capital Management, Linda Reyes, and every other employee are going to be prosecuted for criminal surveillance, psychological torture, the perpetual sex offense, and also what is being in violation of the Violence Against Women Act. The entity is doing so while they are aware of the fact that they're being documented. This is impossible lighting me. This is the engineered light that's covering all of the property outside. These are the circumstances where the entity is engaging in what is going to be prosecuted as criminal interference with quiet enjoyment, which is also committed by this supernatural maintenance of light that manifests in the shade, pursuant to demons who are engaging in stalking as a community, stalking as a municipality, stalking on behalf of the U.S. government, and stalking in violation of your constitutional and human rights where the government has no warrant or probable cause. This is the engineered light that's manifesting in the shade. It is appearing inside of the living room, at a distance, upright on the wall, where you are looking at what is a covered structure, where you're looking at the distinction between supposed concentrated light versus shade, and you have the manifestation of light out of nowhere. This is all engineered light, and that is not the sun that is evident remaining over this apartment building where the people of the state are gang stalking. This license 8VKP279 is going to be prosecuted for gang stalking. They are gang stalking as an entire apartment complex. The entity is engaged in what is bathroom monitoring at 12:49 p.m. The entity is keeping this fake sun, and this is the engineered light that is again manifesting out of nowhere. It starts right here on the inside of the building. The fake sun is outside of the building. The fake sun is the means of identifying the crime scene where surveillance is underway by a community, which is on behalf of and in concert with the state. And the state is engaging in what is the United States government's pattern of conduct. None of this is going to create the light that you see on the living room wall manifesting in the shade back here. That's the pattern of conduct, and this is stalking by the people of the state. He's going to federal prison, license 6YOZ533. He's gang stalking unit number 43. And he's doing so while engineered lights appearing in the shade. That's the malice of stalking under a fake sun, and this is the police department gang stalking through the people. He's going to federal prison for gang stalking on video with impossible light. This is a psychopath that keeps their back to you, and you can see him driving under the fake sun, and engineer light swipes all across the carport over there where the fake sun is still here after 4 p.m. This is how the people of the state target together. The demon in unit number 43 is gang stalking under the 11 a.m. fake sun, and they're all sex offenders engaging in criminal interference together as one while they keep their back to you like delusional psychopaths who are already surrounded with the body of evidence, and all of them in this building and this building are going to prison for their demonstration of mental illness, because that's what that's showing. It's not showing innocence. It's showing malice and psychopathic tendencies. The entity that is gang stalking under the fake sun, amongst impossible light activity, amongst amplified audible activity, where the fake sun is rising at 6:33, reflecting off of this building where this demon is stalking, where the entity is keeping the fake sun at what is 5:40, and the entity is keeping the fake sun over the same building. You're looking at gang stalkers. All right, and this is a male that's monitoring my vagina, stalking a woman, and a sex offender is a coward that keeps their back to you, and the entity is doing so engaging in what the city of Ontario, what Alan D. Wapner is doing under the 5:40 p.m. fake sun with commercial planes, while I reference my vagina, and the entity is hostile to that, amplified plane activity, license 7YEH777, she's going to prison, and license 6YOZ333. Pay attention to the fake sun. At 3:04 p.m., the Ontario police flies right over my head where the people of the state are engaging in gang stalking with impunity. They engage in terrorism with amplified audible activity. They engage in terrorism with stalking under a fake sun with impossible light. And then the cowards and the sex offenders keep their back to you, but that's okay because the entity is going to federal prison for it. Let me show you the fake sun where you see it at this location at 9 o'clock in the morning, and a demon that's a violent sex offender stalks you with impossible light that moves all around the building while they keep their back to you. All of these psychopaths in these two buildings are going to federal prison and mental asylums. That's mental illness exhibited while they keep their back to you and they're targeting you, which is evident in the specific environment. This is never going to create any sunlight around Tracy Banks' front door. It's not going to cause my shadow to appear inside of the living room, upright on that east living room wall. That is the evidence while the entity is engaging in the demonic in plain sight with the amplification of plane activity. The slamming of the doors is the hostility of demons that behave like barbarians when they're stalking with audible noise in the path, where this sidewalk is a means of pacing on an ongoing basis, and they get in a frenzy and they get excited every time I pull my panties down. These are the sex offenders going to prison in units 33 through 64. It is currently, right now, that's the City of Ontario sounding plane engines as I reference my vagina. It's 12:59 p.m. This is the same engineer light coming through a crack in the door where Tracy Banks was walking out under the cloudy sky, and the engineer light is coming through in the same exact manner. You'll pay attention to the images I took. This is the same exact light activity. It's impossible light activity. It has nothing to do with the fake sun. It's engineer light, regardless of what color it is. and the demons are monitoring in it. This is the same exact impossible light coming through the peephole where Tracy Banks is walking out and molesting me with the engineer light. The engineer light that you see manifesting in the shade as you open up the blinds and you see the faces that are gang stalking as a senior citizen community where a fake sun rises and sets. All right, this is relevant to what Jason Isaac Fields, a demon that's monitoring in the spirit. This is what he's doing with the state of California. The U.S. government gang stalking me with a very unintelligent and inept group of demons, the state of California and the people of the state. And this elderly community, they're going to be prosecuted under the Violence Against Women Act. They're going to be prosecuted for gang stalking with the government. They're going to be prosecuted for federal stalking under Title 18, Section 2261A, subsections 1 and 2. And in units number 33 through 64, and the employees of Avanath Capital Management, including Linda Reyes, they're all going to prison. It is current. Let me show you this time. That's the fake sun. The entity is at 1 p.m. keeping this fake sun where it's going to set as late as 6:13 p.m., which is also on the record, where this same exact impossible light activity is present at 6:13 in the evening. That's called stalking with light, and that's what the demons at Unit 43 are doing while they're in the path in this specific environment, focused on me. That's what you're doing in Engineer Light. You're focusing on the targeted individual. It is also evident to what the entity is doing in LA, same time of year, under the fake sun, which is speaking to targeting by me at an apartment complex with the LAPD, the city of Los Angeles. It is currently, again, 1:01 p.m. The entity sounding plane activity, as I referenced my vagina that they're keeping under surveillance, that's the same city of Ontario. Alan D. Wapner, Mike Lorenz, Paul Leon. The entity that's gang stalking with the fire department, which Michael Gherkin is engaging in monitoring me with as well, obsessed with my vagina that I reference, and then they sound audible activity that's amplified, where no planes coming from the Ontario International Airport are going to be in any elevation to hear them, and also that simultaneity of plane activity is speaking to surveillance, knowledge, hostility, a threat for a prosecution. P.O.C. It is currently 1:01 p.m. This is bathroom monitoring. All right, the video you just listened to is the ongoing evidence against the United States government, and Jason Isaac Fields is being one of, again, the U.S. government has given a position to a terrorist, a sex offender such as Jason Isaac Fields, who's going to be removed from that position, apart from what is the U.S. government's criminal engagement as an agency, as a government body, as an organization. But this particular state actor who was abusing a position in my life as a hitman in order to conspire against me, to target me, to use the details of my life to hang out with me, talk to me on the phone. The entity is monitoring in the same way that the demons are gang stalking at Woodside Senior Apartments, doing so while you're feigning a friendship, while you're engaging in federal stalking on communication devices, while the entity is keeping you under surveillance pursuant to everything that you're talking about, everything that you plan to do, every time that you're hanging out and the entity is targeting you. That's very psychopathic, as well as psychopathic as a stranger in the physical, but you are aware that they are not actually strangers. These are demons who are stalking, and the proof of them stalking is surrounding them while they are hostile, violent sex offenders and cowards in substance, keeping their back to me while they are stalking me. It doesn't get any more psychopathic and deranged than that. That particular actor in that video that I'm documenting, that I captured, that you listened to, he's going to prison. He's gang stalking with the Ontario police under the fake sun with engineered light, replete, swiping all across the carports in this parking lot, where after 4 p.m. there is no duration of time where the sun would ever provide for those two videos, what I just captured now and the video of him gang stalking in what is September of 2024. Where he's going to federal prison for gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department, keeping my vagina under surveillance, and then sounding amplified audible activity while I refer you to what is the evidence of them being gang stalkers in the bathroom inside of this apartment where impossible light, where the fake sun remains over, and where the people of the state are gang stalking. Sounding amplified audible activity the moment that I pull my panties down and walk into the living room is evidence of the intent to psychologically torture pursuant to what is bathroom monitoring that's also underway just seconds prior to that. The demons are also doing so with an appetite for what is being exposed as sex offenders. And then don't forget what Alan D. Wapner is committing as I document him, showing you his image, reminding you about his position, and publish him on my website and on the podcast. And the entity filled this apartment 10 times throughout my podcast that I documented over 35 minutes, 10 separate times, the engineer light scanning across the ceiling. The video that you are listening to and the video that you can look at yourself, the evidence while you see my shadow appearing at a distance away from me on the opposite side of the living room, upright on the wall, as tall as me, and you can see me holding up my cell phone in that light that's manifesting in the shade, which is impossible to naturally occur, hence impossible light light activity and the hard, direct evidence of what is criminal surveillance under the supernatural occurrence, which is a documented pattern of conduct in different counties, in different regions where the government is engaging in surveillance. The U.S. government in concert with the state of California, and as I documented, in the state of Nevada. This is where the entity is monitoring my vagina, and the entity engages in what is stalking with impossible light activity, similar to the light activity that you will see in this video that I captured today. This is what Alan D. Wapner is inflicting upon me while I document his sex offense of monitoring my vagina and then terrorizing me and harassing me and psychologically torturing me because I'm documenting him as that gross, violent sex offender. And that's exactly how the documentation of the entity that's engaging in surveillance and keeping your documentation under surveillance and then resorts to what is criminal acts of retaliation upon knowledge of your documenting specific state actors who use the airport and the commercial airline planes to target me. That's how specific that criminal activity is. It's also relevant to, again, who I stated, who you are aware of is spiritually attacking and using black magic, trying to use sex magic, engaging in what is psychological torture as well, spiritually attacking me while gang stalking me with these very predators at Woodside Senior Apartments, which includes his sex partner, the 60-some-odd-year-old Tracy Banks. All right, Jason Isaac Fields is being removed. While you see the mental illness exhibited by this demon at Unit 43 inside of the apartment and the demon standing in front of Unit 43, keeping his back to me while you're stalking someone, that is the utmost height of malice and psychopathic tendencies. You already know that it's gang stalking, so look at the ways that the demon-possessed targets someone. You do that with the intent to psychologically torture the ordinary targeted individual that doesn't know what's going on. Can't quite put their finger on it. It's questioning what's happening around them, but not quite sure, not to a conclusive degree to where they can make an allegation and not feel fearful, not feel like people are going to look at them like they're crazy. That's the point of gang stalking with keeping your back to someone. That's a demon-possessed person, and that's the psychopathic mental illness in operation. That particular demon that's keeping his back to me, he's going to federal prison, and his animosity is also documented while he slams the door of the clubhouse. That's the same clubhouse that Linda Reyes is gang stalking me in on May 8, 2025 at 8:49 p.m. and the Ontario Police Department also engaging in a documented act of retaliation, then commence flying in a circle for a prolonged period of time while the fake sun is over the same strip of sidewalk that it is right now that I'm documenting at 12:52 in the afternoon at the same exact location. Linda Reyes, like I stated, is going to federal prison while her co-defendants lacking self-control and also clearly any legal expertise, any legal strategy, any foresight, any sort of plan whatsoever. While they focus on my vagina, they focus on targeting me and my documentation and the inability to control yourself, and control is necessary when you're going to sit in court before what is a judge who's going to consider all of the evidence, because it's not going to be disregarded and forgotten like the demon-possessed do. They tell themselves every day that it's not happening, that it's not real, that the evidence that they are witnessing is being captured, that the evidence is being published as I name them by position and license plate, image, video, etc., and compare them to demons in totally different areas where it is impossible to have a pattern amongst them. They tell themselves on an ongoing, ceaseless basis that it's not real, that it's not happening, and that they should continue doing what it is to their own demise. Those psychopaths are the ones who are going to prison and mental asylums, and it includes Linda Reyes and her co-defendants in units 1 through 144, and those going to prison and mental asylums are in units 33 through 64. Okay, and that includes Tracy Banks, who was a part of the entity that's obsessively and diligently maintaining the criminal elements of monitoring while I'm inside of her apartment, where engineer light is manifesting inside of her apartment, where the fake sun is remaining over me at her apartment, where the city of Ontario, which is the state of California, is targeting me at her apartment, in concert with the people of the state that are targeting me while I'm inside of her apartment, which is her ceaseless engagement in what is the elements of monitoring as an entity. Okay, the entity is acting as one, and she's going to a mental asylum. And she's also engaged in federal stalking, which you don't have to be physically present to share in surveillance via communication devices. She's going to a mental asylum. Her sex partner, Jason Isaac Fields, is being removed from whatever branch of the U.S. government that he's in. He's in the military. He's out of the military. He's in some federal law enforcement agency. He is out, and he is subject to federal prison. It is because of him, it is because of Tracy Banks, it is because of the corruption of the government that uses hitmen like Tracy Banks, like Eric Corey Spencer, like Jason Isaac Fields to target me in a personalized manner in concert with the demons who are quote unquote hiding behind an illusion of anonymity, which does not exist in the specific environment. I'm prosecuting you by address, by image, by license plate, by neighborhood, literally everybody on a street. I don't have to have your address. I walk down your street and I'm documenting. If all I had is your the location where I'm at, everybody on that street is subject to federal prison. They're in relevant position, gang stalking, sharing the elements with the police that fly in circles over me while I'm on your street. That's how an entity terrorizes one person together. Together. And you're going to be prosecuted together. The mental illness is exhibited by this demon that's keeping his back to me, and it is the prosecution of all of that entity. In the same way, this is the same apartment. While this demon keeps his back to me, don't forget about the engineer light scanning inside of this apartment where he resides 10 times. You are not separate and distinct and just existing in a vacuum where I'm documenting the pattern of conduct. You're going to be prosecuted as a whole apartment complex, let alone for gang stalking with the police, which he's on video doing, terrorizing and molesting me with impossible light. He's going to federal prison. All right, just want to be clear, it's 1:10 p.m. And let me remind you about this demon's license plate. This particular male, I don't want to call him a man. I accidentally did that because I'm typically very courteous and polite, but I am being very specific with regard to the demon possessed. You're dealing with those of the male gender, you're dealing with those of the female gender, but these are not men and women in a proper term, dignified, civilized human beings. These are demons. These are animals. And they don't want that Neanderthalic character, but they're showing it while they stalk with amplified noise, while you stalk under a fake sun, because that's what you're doing under the fake sun. Ding, 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 in case you did not know that. You are clearly stalking under the fake sun. The evidence already precedes you in your foolish engagement in that well-established pattern of conduct. The entity is doing so to its own demise and ongoing criminal interference with quiet enjoyment, which I'm going to drain the pockets of Avanath Capital Management for, and I'm going to prosecute Avanath's employees with. They are doing so pursuant to surveillance that's underway inside of the apartment as well. Amplified audible activity in real time at 1:11 p.m. as I switch apps to look at what is the license plate. The demon whose license plate I'm going to read to you right now, he's going to federal prison for this very surveillance that he is engaging in with impunity as the entity acts as one, and doing so pursuant to what is an ongoing obsessive and delusional endeavor to monitor someone who you are not successfully sacrificing at all. You have sacrificed your reputation, you have sacrificed your freedom, you've sacrificed what is the ability to exist without a criminal record, identifying you as a terrorist in this country and as a sex offender, which is going to follow you in the same way that you were following me under the fake sun. That criminal record is never going to leave. You can't get it expunged, you're not getting it removed, and I'm going to make sure that that is the case with regard to terrorism, domestic terrorism in this country. Amplified audible activity occurring in real time while I'm capturing the documentation is Daryl J. Carter, Avanath Capital Management's impunity in HD. All right, so the stalker is being documented, and the stalker continuously engages in stalking and harassment and psychological torture in real time while you are capturing footage about it, regarding it. This is exactly what I documented yesterday when impossible light activity scans across the ceiling inside of this apartment 10 plus times. All right, during the course of my 35 minutes that I'm documenting it, this is what the demons are doing: stalking with impossible light activity and stalking amongst amplified audible activity, which is designed to monitor. Monitor is pursuant to what is stalking. Those make very obvious defendants who are subject to federal prison for gang stalking with the government while you are doing so by place of residence, and there is no excuse or removal from it. The demon's license plate 6YOZ533 is the demon, the predator, the aged sex offender, gang stalking me with the City of Ontario, gang stalking me with the co-defendant in unit number 43, license 7YEH777, also under the fake sun, gang stalking me with RGS Landscaping at 11 a.m., where it's in the same position that it is in the afternoon when I walk out into that parking lot at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when I walk out into that parking lot at 8 o'clock in the morning, where this license plate 7YEH777 gang stalking this overweight Latina female with edema, walking on a walker, monitoring me, creating activity with her dog in the engineer light, gang stalking me with this sex offender standing at her front door, monitoring my vagina together while they share in the elements of monitoring as demons who don't have to talk to you, they don't have to look at you, they don't have to acknowledge you, they don't have to personally be familiar with you, while they know exactly who you are and their knowledge is proven in that specific environment, and that stalking conduct conduct with the activity creation and also occurring at the apartment complex. That's supernatural, and it's a combination of facts that are impossible to manufacture and impossible to maintain a consistent coexistence of. It's impossible for that to be the case. It is nothing other than the pattern of conduct that these two demons at Unit 43 are sharing in, and those are just the demons that are engaging what is crossing path, making sure that they're in the path, just like the demons do when they're driving through the gate. And I'm walking outside of the apartment, just like the demon does in Unit 55 when she runs downstairs under the 4:31 p.m. fake sun that's over me as I'm documenting it at 12:52 p.m. You're reminded about all of the evidence that remains. None of it's in a vacuum. The demons are stalked with amplified noise, which is criminal interference with quiet enjoyment, which a property management company, a landlord that is a domestic terrorist and a sex offender engaging in what is psychological torture while targeting an occupant. A series of unprecedented criminal conduct, criminal acts committed by the people of the state who are profiting from domestic terrorism as the U.S. government. Actors like Jason Isaac Fields sanction it and act in concert with that. Avanath Capital Management is being criminally prosecuted, not just civilly with regard to draining the pockets. I'm going to criminally prosecute that company. Company names are going to be prosecuted with regard to their engagement in domestic terrorism. That's also going to result in what is damages, obviously, but there is a purpose, a principle behind criminally prosecuting the logo, the name, the entity itself that's commercially engaging in a government program of targeting American citizens, and doing so through an apartment complex where you're living and you are not capable of escaping the criminal pattern of conduct, where literally the employees of that landlord, the property itself, where the property remains, and the people of the state that reside at that property are gang stalking you. Yes, you're going to prison. You are going to prison, and you are not escaping that. And Linda Reyes on Saturday, even if she doesn't have any hours in the office, she's being documented. She's going to prison, and her impunity is like constantly being documented. This is why you do not engage in the malicious act of gang stalking someone by place of residence. That malice is now being returned to her with regard to a prosecution and the inevitable documentation for your engagement in gang stalking at your place of residence with the residents who you are targeting me with at every other time when you're in the office. And it's going to continue even when you're out of the office. It's your place of employment, and I'm going to prosecute you, and I'm going to document you at all hours where the entity is engaging in that P.O.C. The entity is doing so with the government. The entity is doing so with the people of the state. I want to be clear. The demon that you see in that video, his license plate again is license 6YOZ533, and he is gang stalking at unit number 43, whose license plate is 7YEH777. They are gang stalking inside of the clubhouse. All they are doing is maintaining surveillance, obsessively stalking me, and the ability to know that unfathomable interest in me as a person is proven through the maintenance of a whole fake sun over me at the apartment complex. And that's how you know what they're all obsessively consumed with. And it's me, it's my vagina, it's my internet activity, it's my movement, it's my appetite, it's what I'm dreaming about, it's what I'm speaking about, it's what I'm viewing online, what I'm listening to, whatever it is that I am observing. That's how you are aware of the obsession of those who are stalking, as it is proven in that environment that is supernatural. That supernatural character is speaking to what is impossible to be anything other than what it is that I have told you that it is. These are demons in a demonic environment, and they're monitoring, which is pursuant to criminal surveillance by the government. It is currently 1:18 p.m. Bathroom monitoring is the egregious sex offense, and I'm going to show you the demon's faces again. I'm going to upload it to the YouTube channel. This is what I documented, and the entity is engaging what is stalking with amplified noise and sensational activity as I documented it, which was in a video that I uploaded on May 22nd, 2025, and the entity engages in a documented act of retaliation, which is then followed by Alan D. Wapner gang stalking with the Ontario International Airport directly over my head, where the fake sun is over my head. And remember, that was at what is 4 o'clock in the evening, where no duration of time, where you have another state, by the way, namely Florida. Pick one, anyone, because the state is not under the natural environment, which is evident through the sun. And even a cloudy day doesn't change that. You will observe engineer light remains at nightfall. You will observe engineer light remains amongst the cloudy sky space. Engineer light remains when demons use manifestations of light, such as a flashlight, such as headlights, such as police lights, fire truck lights, ambulance ambulance lights and signage where you're looking at impossible light activity, the fake sun is merely the identity of the demons who are stalking one particular person. And who are they stalking? Me, where that fake sun remains over me at any point in the day. It will never be the natural environment, which is greater context regarding targeting that's underway in that environment. The demons in units 33 through 64 are all going to federal prison for it. They're stalking and monitoring while I capture the podcast. Okay, that's always the same pattern of conduct that I'm documenting. Impunity, obsession, psychopathic behaviors is what is demonstrated by that. You're talking about what is diagnosis upon the criminal conduct being documented to prosecute each and every individual that's acting as an entity. While you keep your back to me, gang stalking, I want to be clear. You're already surrounded with facts that are unhelpful, because for you to talk to me is a threat as well. But you need to see the malice behind the demon-possessed who gang stalk you. They keep their back to you. They're necessarily people whose name you don't know, but they know exactly who you are. They know when you pull your underwear down in the bathroom. They know whether you're going number 1 or number 2. They know which direction you're wiping. They know whether you shave your pubic hairs off or not. They know what body part you wash first in the bathroom when you get in the shower. They know how frequently you wash your body. They know what flavor or scent you wear and what type of lotion that you put on. They know how many times you brush your teeth in the day. They know with regard to what it is you're talking about when you're cheating on your spouse. If you're cheating and you think nobody knows, they're aware of the details in your personal life. They're aware of your watching pornography when you're subject to surveillance. And they engage in gang stalking while keeping their back to you. That's what's relevant. If he were to turn around and say anything to me, that's federal prison. That's an unlawful threat by the government that flies over me, following me around from place to place in helicopters. That's an unlawful threat by the government that has no warrant or probable cause, who is speaking through the face of a puppet of Satan, a demon, a third party. That's how you're rapidly escalating from a federal prosecution and you're losing your apartment home to federal prison. The government that's stalking you is going to watch its mouth while it's stalking you. The government that's stalking you is not going to engage in what is threatening you with impossible light and amplified audible activity and stalking you through the resources of the government while you document that government. The government that's stalking you is not going to criminally defame you and kidnap you. The government that's stalking you is not going to threaten you by saying anything to you, anything whatsoever, including, why are you recording me? Which is, by the way, an unfounded assumption pursuant to knowledge based on federal stalking and a demon that knows what you're doing on your phone. Tracy Banks is in her room very often and she begins pacing outside of the bedroom. This is what's so disturbing about the demon possessed and your knowledge about what is very demonic pursuant to artificial intelligence, pursuant to the satanic monitoring that's underway on the venue of the internet. The demon possessed are demonstrating what is underway online via communication devices. And Tracy Banks, who is not looking at me when she's in her room, and she is with simultaneity walking out, and you know that the apartment is filled with engineer light. The property, the venue is filled with engineer light. All manner of surveillance is underway by the city of Ontario. Outside of the apartment. She's in the apartment maintaining the elements of monitoring. She is in her bedroom and she will routinely engage in what is monitoring pursuant to what I'm doing online. This is walking out, crossing path, light activity creation is simultaneously underway because engineer light fills this apartment. As she turns on the light, she's creating light activity. She's monitoring. This is a demon possessed person who is aware of what I'm doing on the internet. When they're monitoring, they are demonstrating knowledge in real time about what's going on your communication devices. The demon possessed, as you are aware, well, you might not be aware of, but artificial intelligence is pursuant to what is demonic knowledge, pursuant to monitoring of American citizens. Acquiring this knowledge about people and studying and all of the technological terms that are given with regard to what is satanic. It's satanic. Monitoring is real. Monitoring is underway on communication devices as well. The demon possessed are monitoring in relevant position in the environment pursuant to what is stalking. You're monitoring me. You are stalking me by being in my path in order to do so. Whether you maliciously do so by living in the path, or you do so by coming and delivering a package in the path, or you engage in the psychotic pattern of conduct by doing so as a government flying over me in the path, flying around me repeatedly, obsessively, in a psychotic manner in the path. However they are in the path, it's stalking. The government is engaging in monitoring pursuant to surveillance without any warrant or probable cause. And this artificial intelligence what is already taken over on the internet, what American citizens have already participated in, and aided in educating the demonic and educating them with regard to a technological means of surveillance, a technological means of monitoring American citizens, everything that's happening on communication devices. And it's not just in the United States. Tracy Banks, as a demon-possessed person, which is shared by the rest of the demons, but I'm just using her as an example, she does so. She opens the front door pursuant to what I'm doing on the my communication device on the internet with simultaneity, demonstrating her knowledge, because there's no coincidence when this fake sun is remaining over me in her apartment at this building for 11 hours. Neither when my shadow is appearing upright away from me, in front of me, like it's a whole person that's facing me. It's as tall as me. It has the same measurements as me, meaning it's a magnified upright shadow. There's no coincidence in that environment. And the demon possessed are exercising real-time knowledge about what's going on your communication devices, what's going on in the environment where you're being monitored. And that's what's license 7YEH777, license 6YOZ533. These are demons who don't have to talk to you while they're monitoring you, which you have proof of the truth that I'm speaking to you based on the specific environment. You have truth about their knowledge about me and their focus on me based on the specific environment. I'm not making up, and I don't have to make up. Neither do I think it's fun to just sit around making stuff up. I didn't go to law school and start my career and go to college and finance my education. I was not born a millionaire just to throw it all away and just start documenting that strangers are following me around. That's not why I spent all that time studying and working so hard in law school. It is the Lord's will that I acquired that mindset, that legal mind, that analytical mind, in order to prosecute and expose what the demon possessed are doing, because you don't only need what is the supernatural gift set, okay? The discernment. You have to be able, because the demon possessed are engaging what is the use of illusion. So I'm going to prosecute you based on your illusions. So you're prosecuting them based on the specific environment as what would happen in the natural environment. You're going to prosecute them based on what they're doing in the environment, which is a pattern. With all you're getting by, you're never marrying yourself to the image. Stalking me with, meaning simultaneity of amplified ceiling cracking, amplified helicopter activity, amplified plane activity, amplified train activity, amplified motorcycle engine revving, amplified sound of children laughing and crying outside, the amplified sound of you digging with a shovel in the ground that causes the living room floor inside of the apartment to vibrate, amplified audible activity of the door closures of the apartment. Whatever the method is, it's creating what is impact. It's amplified in volume, and it's happening in the engineered light. These are demons who know every move that you're making, and this is also occurring on the venue of the internet. And artificial engineering, artificial intelligence is that which is demonstrating that it's the product of it. It's pursuant to monitoring, and it's satanic. Okay, the entity is engaging what is gang stalking, and I am prosecuting the demon possessed using logic and reasoning. Not some vague and ambiguous, secret, spiritual, chant, and then that's how you're going to get, that's witchcraft, that's the spirit of Satan and deceit and confusion, and that's not of the spirit of truth, that's not the Holy Spirit, that is not Christ Jesus, who was revealing what Satan is doing. Amplified audible activity again at what is 1:27 p.m. Linda Reyes is going to federal prison. License 6YOZ533 is going to federal prison. License 7YEH777, who you see on video monitoring me with the demons that are inside of the building, engaging in amplified audible activity as they stalk in the path by living at the facilitating venue, which is an egregiously perverted and demented method of stalking somebody. A stranger that you don't know, and you have no legitimate interest in stalking them. Why are they stalking? Because they're demons. And the fact that they're demons is proven to you in the specific environment as I lay that out for the world to witness. And I'm also prosecuting the demon possessed. And that is, again, through the use of not only spiritual discernment, but legal reasoning and logic. Everyone can see what it is that I've exposed, and everyone, we can reason together through it, because it's an inevitable conclusion. And also what's inevitable is how law, federal law, is going to work to prosecute the demon-possessed population, who are also engaged in surveillance on the venue of the internet, and resort to animalistic behaviors such as stalking with amplified audible activity, noise, just loud noises, to harass, to distract, to psychologically torture, because they can't sacrifice me. So the demons are engaging in what is just stalking me with impossible light, stalking me with loud noises, because they're mad because they weren't able to sacrifice me, and they cannot shut me up. The more that they do it, the longer that they're getting locked up. The more that they do it, the more that you know the truth that I'm speaking about demon-possessed Jewish people like Alan D. Wapner. The more that they do it, the more that you are aware of the fact that every documented Ontario police officer, they're all going to prison. And that police department is being shut down. They clearly have demonstrated to the public and to the federal government that is going to provide justice, regardless of the fact that they're engaged in monitoring me, and the federal government has been forced to address it and essentially prosecuting itself, because that's exactly what's going to happen. The Ontario International Airport and the Ontario Police Department have demonstrated the absence of their need, that the fact that they're not needed whatsoever, that they are engaging in what is total disregard of what the city could be using the police department for, should be using the police department for, that the legitimate interests of the police department and the airport, which is not going to coexist with both making money and also gang stalking me. Since you want to engage in terrorism at any point, you are going to be shut down altogether. The Ontario Police Department, the same thing. Repeated acts of kidnapping and your gang stalkers, you're being shut down altogether, and you have demonstrated why that is necessary as a matter of justice and for the benefit of American society, literally. They are a threat to the public. The demons that are stalking with amplified noise and stalking with impossible light activity, all established facts. I've already established the facts. What I'm referring to, that you need to do your homework and pay attention to the body of evidence that is published to the world for your education, not just for my prosecution of the state. It is for your education. Do your own homework, because the information is available for you for your own good, not for people to steal. Because whoever you are, I'm going to prosecute you for a criminal and inhumane means of infringement, copyright infringement. I don't consent to it. It is published for your welfare, for your benefit, for your information, because the demon-possessed are a barbaric gang that fill the country, and they're targeting American citizens. And they also have position in government. They murder people. They criminally defame people. They kidnap as an entity. It's conducted as an entity. While they're gang stalking you and you're arrested, that's a kidnapping. And then they put you in a mental ward, that's a kidnapping pursuant to criminal defamation. While they're targeting you, they know you haven't committed any crime. They know that you are not mentally ill. It's a means of targeting. Doing it through the courts, that's kidnapping. Gang stalking in the courtrooms, where there is never any ability to procure what is any legitimate jurisdiction under the state and federal constitutions, where you're gang stalking. It's never going to translate or convert into what is actual legitimate jurisdiction. It is public corruption established at every level of government, by the way. Once you have established the pattern of conduct. I established the pattern of conduct by the government years ago. I have documented multiple, not multiple, beyond multiple. I have documented plenty, I'll just say that, with regard to the people of the state, the neighborhoods, the cities that are exposed as engaging in the P.O.C., regardless of that same entity stealing the evidence of it. But by the way, theft of my intellectual property is corroborating evidence pursuant to the truth that I speak. Because I don't have to make up anything, and I'm not into fables, and I also don't play with the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. I don't play with them like the demon-possessed do. The demon-possessed who are playing with the prosecutor who was literally telling them where they're going, and they're still engaging in that pattern of conduct, which is speaking to the fact that they need to be in mental asylums. They need to be in federal prison. They are providing a template for how the people in this country are going to be treated under federal laws in order to prosecute what is exposed, domestic terrorism, pursuant to surveillance that the government is unlawfully maintaining against American citizens. You're under surveillance. You're under surveillance on the internet via communication devices amongst the demon-possessed at that. And it's happening at the White House. It's happening at the Pentagon when they're talking about, national security threats and a slip up in text messages and confidential information, classified information. We're under surveillance, and nations outside of this country know what's going on in this in amongst our national government. They know what's going on while our communication devices are not protected with regard to what is the satanic means of surveillance. Our government's engaging in keeping us under surveillance. Our government's so-called classified information is known by outsiders, not because they're cracking and violating the explanation, in other words, that we're given with regard to how they hacked our system somehow. This is demonic. It's demonic. Surveillance is happening in the environment. And there are people that come as immigrants into this country, monitoring American citizens, monitoring those who are in the U.S. government, monitoring those who have access and readily deal in classified information, and their devices are kept under surveillance. That information is already being shared. This is satanic means of surveillance. Knowledge that is a threat to the United States of America, but this is the government that has already sacrificed. They've already sacrificed the ability to maintain any sense of independence, first of all, because of the fact that we are so compromised, but also because we have essentially been sold off by our government. This is not some sort of conspiracy theory that's unsubstantiated. This is literally the logical reasoning behind what the government is doing. The government is engaged in surveillance. I'm prosecuting it. I'm exposing it. With regard to these ridiculous iterations of the same P.O.C. Oh, we were hacked, and that's how they got the information about the head of the FBI and sending a text message to one of the captains of the Marines and or whatever it is that they're putting on the news about some sort of hack system. No, we are all under surveillance. It's not classified. It's not. Down to the homeless person with a free Obama phone, up to the highest executive. Surveillance on communication devices, and it's demonic. It's entirely demonic. The demon possessed are engaging in this pattern of conduct with knowledge, and they are necessarily maintaining a quote unquote sense of anonymity. These are demons. This is Satan's system. And it is necessary, but it's no longer capable. It's not a secret anymore. I'm literally prosecuting it and exposing it. And it's for your good. If you're not aware of what I'm telling you about, for your own information, amplified audible activity, impossible light activity, engineered light, stalking under a fake sun, it is for your information. You cannot say that you were not warned beforehand. It is for your own information, and those that engage in trying to steal it, you're going to be dealt with in a whole lot. I'm going to prosecute you. But this is published necessarily not only to protect myself, because the entity tried to secretly kill me off, kill me away, and steal my creation, my intellectual property, which is also evidence proving that the government is targeting me and has been targeting me since I was a child. I'm not some tarot card reader coming up with some weird combination of lie and some variation, some diluted truth where the demons are monitoring me and then going back and through some tarot card reading talking about what's happening in the environment. Those demons are not speaking the truth, and they're listening to Satan, whose job it is to deceive and confuse. These demons are monitoring pursuant to a very identifiable and specific and consistent pattern of conduct. And those that are doing so at Woodside, you're going to prison. And that's just because I happen to be here. And so everybody that's engaging in terrorism, you're demonstrating you don't want your kids like the demons in Unit 41 gang stalking with their kids. The fact that you've seen their images for so long, so many times.